श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रम् धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवम् यतीन्द्रप्रवणम् वन्दे रम्यजामातरम् मुनिम् लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भाम् नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् यो नित्यम् अच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणम् प्रपद्ये लोकाचार्याय गुरवे कृष्णपादस्य सूनवे संसारभोगिसन्दष्टजीवजीवातवे नमः।
श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रम् धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवम् यतीन्द्रप्रवणम् वन्दे रम्यजामातरम् मुनिम् यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणम् प्रपद्ये लोकाचार्याय गुरवे कृष्णपादस्य सूनवे संसारभोगिसन्दष्टजीवजीवातवे नमः। We'll continue with the study of the Mumuksupadi. So we are in the 98th and 99th Sutra. The explanation of the meaning of the word Narayana is in progress. Narangalavana, etc. Annangalakkum Mandattukkulpatta Devadi Pararthangalum Ayanamennade Ivatrikku Ashrayam Ennapadi Anganannikke Nivedhannai Ashrayamaha Udayavan Enna Ubam. So here the knowledge of the compounds of Sanskrit is very much essential to understand the meaning of the word Narayana properly. So very briefly, I will explain it. Sanskrit is a very unique language in which the construction of compound words is also very unique. In no other language that I have come across, especially the Indian languages or the foreign languages like English, of course, I do not know any other foreign language other than English. This type of construction of compounds are not found. I will not go into that detail because that's a very huge topic. But as far as the construction of compounds are concerned in Sanskrit, it is very unique and also peculiar. So I will just give an example. Now there is a word called Pitambaraha. Pitambaraha consists of two words, Pita and Ambara. Pita means yellow and Ambara means robe. But here the meaning of the word Pitambara is not yellow robe. On the other hand, the meaning of the compound word Pitambaraha is Pitam Ambaram Yasya Saha Pitambaraha, which means one who is sporting a yellow robe. So it neither means yellow nor means robe, or it also does not mean yellow robe. But the word Pitambaraha refers to a person who is wearing a yellow robe. So such a construction does not exist in any other language. So similarly, you have another compound called Tatpurusha. This is the what I have given now is the example of Bahurihi Samasa. Why it is named as Bahurihi Samasa or the compound called Bahurihi? That is another matter altogether, which is not relevant now. The Tatpurusha Samasa is as follows. For example, Ramasya Pustakam, Rama Pustakam. So Rama book is what is the literal translation, but it actually refers to a book that belongs to Rama, or Rama's book, where you have the apostrophes S. So Ramasya Pustakam, Rama Pustakam. This is one example of Tatpurusha compound. There are 8 types in Tatpurusha. There are several types in Bahuri, several types in each of the samasas. Here, we are explaining the meaning of the word Narayana. So, the first explanation is based on the Tatpurusha compound, that means Naranam Ayanam. The base or the locus of the Naras. We have studied what Naras means. It's a huge list which we had already studied. This is one meaning that is obtained by the Tatpurusha Samasa or Tatpurusha compound. The other one is Naraha Ayanam Yasya Saha. Just like the word Pitambaraha, where it means that a person who is wearing a yellow robe. Similarly, here it means one who is the locus of all the Naras. In effect, both of them are referring to the same person called Narayana. So I will just give another example to show how it works. Suppose I say Dasharatha's eldest son. It refers to Rama. Then I will say elder brother of Bharata. Then also it refers to Rama. But though in effect, both the words or both the phrases refer to the same person, the meaning is totally different. So when I say Rama's Dasharatha's eldest son, it refers to Rama only. Similarly, if I say elder brother of Bharata, then also it refers to Rama only. But literally, when you consider these two independently, are they of the same meaning? No. You cannot say Dasharatha's eldest son equals Bharata's elder brother. They may refer to the same person finally, but they are not, they are totally different. The way in which they refer to the same person is totally different. One is different from the other. Similarly, though both these refer to the Lord Narayana only, the way that they denote him are quite different. So when we analyze the word Narayana from the point of view of the Bahurihi compound, it is different. When we analyze the word Narayana from the point of view of the Tatpurusha Samasa or Tatpurusha compound, it is different. But both are possible and both are valid. That is very important. Because sometimes, as I mentioned in the earlier classes, one explanation may be contradictory to another explanation also. So it happens in several cases in Sanskrit language when though the word is the same, the way in which the compound is split or is analyzed is different. They will mean two different things altogether. So there are several examples, etc., which are very important as far as the analysis of language is concerned, but that is not our focus now. So then finally, what is the resultant thing? He says, Pillalokacharya says, Ive irandalum parat kalittade paratva saulabhyangal. பகூரி சமாசார்த்தத்தை அருளிச் செய்கிறார். அங்கனன் இக்கே இவதன்னை ஆசிரயமாக உடையவன் என்ன உமாம். So there are two ways in which this can be interpreted. What are the two ways? So I will give an example from Bhagavad Gita, which is very pertinent to this context. So Lord Krishna says, while explaining the characteristics of a true devotee, he says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvancha mai pashyati. So a true devotee sees the Lord in everything. And in the Lord, he says, everything is, he also sees everything existing in the Lord. I hope you are able to understand. So a true devotee, when he sees a cow or a Brahmin or even a dog or even a Chandala or a whatever you call him, or any entity or any object that is of an exalted nature or of a very inferior nature, everywhere that person, a true devotee, sees the existence or presence of the Supreme Lord. So in everything he realizes the existence of the Supreme Lord. This is one aspect. And in the Supreme Lord, he realizes that everything else exists. So here also it is the same thing. Though the Supreme Lord is the resting place or locus of everything, and in everything the Supreme Lord exists. So Naraha Ayanam Yasya Saha is one, and Naranam Ayanam is one. So one essentially means that the Supreme Lord is the resting place or existing place of everything in this world. And similarly, in everything, the Supreme Lord exists. So why do you say both? It has been mentioned in all places, including Bhagavad Gita. But what is the significance of saying both the things? Here Swami Pillaloka answers this question in a very nice manner. He says, Iva irandalum palittade paratva saulabhyangal. So one explanation implies the most exalted nature of the Supreme Lord, or the highest nature of the Supreme Lord, which is known as Paratva. That means the supremacy of the Lord is denoted by saying that he is the locus of everything in this world. And I earlier mentioned that the uniqueness of the Supreme Lord Narayana is that he has both Paratva and Saulabhya together. So Paratva is being of the highest exalted nature, and Saulabhya is being most easy to approach. These two qualities, which if they are independent of each other, are useless. Because I had given the example, for example, the Prime Minister, President of the United States, or the Prime Minister of India, he is most difficult to approach. He is said to be for example, the President of the United States is said to be the most powerful man on earth because he can destroy any country at will. Any person he can kill at will. So he has Paratva. He is the most powerful man in the world, they will say. But does he have Saurabhya, easy approachability? No. On the other hand, assuming that there is a beggar who comes in front of our house and begs for alms, if you say, hey, ready fellow, get out, he will go. If you say, hey, come here, he will come. So it is the extremacy of Saurabhya or easy approachability. So sure, if you have to tell something to a beggar, do you seek an appointment? Oh, yeah, man, when can I come and talk to you? Can I talk to you now? Is it the right time? Do we ask? No. So that is the highest level of Saurabhya or approachability. So the uniqueness of the Supreme Lord is he is having the highest level of Paratva, high, most exalted nature, and at the same time highest level of Saurabhya. So generally I gave several examples in one of the previous classes, I remember, so I will not reiterate that. So while the Bahuri Samasa explains the Saulabhya, the Tatpurusha Samasa meaning explains the Paratva. Therefore, he says, Iva irandalum palittade paratva saulabhyangal. So, both go together in the Supreme Lord, and therefore, he is the greatest of the great. That is what this sutra means. Iva irandalum yennu thodangi, adavadu நாரங்களுக்கு அயனம் நாரங்களை அயனமாக உடையவன் என்கிற இவை இரண்டாலும் பலித்த அர்த்தத்தை தன்னை ஒழிந்த சமஸ்த வஸ்துக்களுக்கும் தான் ஆதாரமாயிருக்கையாகிற பரத்வமும் இப்படி பெரியனானதான் சகல சேதனா சேதனங்களிலும் தன்னை அமைத்துக் கொண்டு புக்கிருக்கையாகிற சௌலபியம் என்கை. This is the meaning of this passage has just been explained. Now, then the 101st sutra is being explained as follows by Swami Manoharamani. Innum oru prakarathale inda samasadvaya phalitangalai arulit seigirar. So Swami Pillai is going to explain the utility of having the two interpretations derived by employing two samasas or compounds. So he says, Antaryamitvam, Upayatvam, Upeyatvam. Three more aspects are made known by studying these two interpretations. So it also mentions that the Supreme Lord is the indweller of all the entities in this world, whether it is the sentient entities or jivatmas or individual souls like us, and also all the achit vastus, which is known as prakriti. So he is the indweller of all these things. Antaha yami antah pravishya niyamayati. One who enters into these things and controls them. That is what is known as antaryami or indweller. The literal meaning is indweller. Not only he is the indweller, he is also the controller. And further, not only is he the indweller and controller, but also upayatvam. He is the means of our attaining moksha or the abode of the Supreme Lord. And who is the person to be attained? He is the upeya. He is the one who is to be attained. To attain him, he himself is the means. So he is the end as well as the means of our life, or the goal of our life. என்று அதாவது பகூரீஹியும் தத்புருஷனுமாகிற உபய சமாசத்தாலும் பலித்தது அந்தரியாமி பிராமணாதிகளிலே சொல்லுகிறபடியே அகில சேதனா சேதனங்களிலும் அந்தராத்மதையா அவஸ்திதனாய்க் கொண்டு நியந்தாவாயிருக்கிற அந்தரியாமித்துவமும் இன்கதோ என்கிற தாதுவிலேயாதல் அயகதோ என்கிற தாதுவிலேயாதல் சித்தமான அயனபதத்தில் கரணே வியுத்பத்தியாலும் கர்மணி வியுத்பத்தியாலும் பிரகாசிதமான உபாயத்துவம் உபேயத்துவம் ஆஹோமாம் என்கை. So here Pillai goes to a very highly technical aspect to actually substantiate what he is telling, and that has been well reiterated by Manoharamani. I will not go the detail. So upaya means the means to attain something, which is known as karane vyutpatti. It is highly technical, so I'll just explain the meaning and continue. So he is the means to attain the Lord, and he is the Lord who is attained by the means, namely he himself. So I hope you are able to understand. He is both the means and the end. So for example, I will just mention one thing. So now, as far as human beings are concerned, especially ordinary human beings, whether they are in India or in America or Africa or whichever place, success is measured in terms of money. So you have these Bill Gates, then Warren Buffett, and some person who owns this Tesla company or whatever it is, who is said to be on the top of the Forbes list, most successful person in the world. Why? He owns his wealth is $5 trillion. So the more money a person earns, he is supposed to be more successful. So success is what? Owning maximum amount of money. So what do we do to, so that is assuming that, of course, that is not the aim of human life, it is useless. Because after a particular stage, money has a thing. Money cannot do anything. But it is very essential as far as earning a livelihood is concerned, or to sustain ourselves, money is required. But money cannot be an end in itself because it has its own problems. I will not go into that because the current context is more important. So suppose you have to earn more money, what do you do? So suppose you have $1 million and you want to make it $10 billion, $10 million. What do? You invest it in a very profitable venture. So we invest money to gain more money. So what is the means to get more money? Money itself. And by investing this money, what do we get? We get money itself. So money ultimately is the end and the means. I hope the concept is clear. So let us remove our mind from this concept, but ultimately it is the Supreme Lord who is to be attained. He is known as Prapya, Prapyasya Brahmanaha Rupam. That's what is mentioned in the Arthapantika context. So one who is fit to be attained or one who is to be attained is Prapya. So that is the Upeya, that which is to be attained. Then what is the means? What is the Upaya? He himself is the Upaya. Just like we employ money to attain more money, so money becomes the means as well as the end. In this context, in the spiritual, that is in the material context, in the spiritual context, it is we approach the Supreme Lord. Why? To attain him only. So he is the Upaya as well as Upeya. He is also the Antaryami. Then, how many roles does the Supreme Lord play in our life? He plays all sorts of roles. That's why he says, so Pedalokacharya's verse is quoted, Yam Biran Engai Engayale Endai Engayale Ishwarane Yella Urvam Purayum Ennu Sollum. So that is very well commented once again. Karmani Utpatti Siddhamana Prapyatuttikka Sankochaminnamayale Sarva Prakara Vishishtamairekkayaram Bandhulabhamum Prapyamairekkayaram Ishwaranudiya Sarva Vidha Bandhuttvamum இப்பதத்திலே சொல்லும்படியே அருளிச் செய்கிறார் எம்பிரான் என்று தொடங்கி, அதாவது நாராயண சப்தார்த்தத்தை அனுசந்திக்கிற திருமங்கையாழ்வார் எம்பிரான் என்னை என்னுடைய சுத்தமென்ன கரசன் உடைவானாள் என்கையாலே ஈஸ்வரனே ஆத்மாக்களுக்கு சர்வவித பந்துவும் என்று இப்பதத்திலே சொல்லுகை என்கை சொல்லும் என்கை. So ultimately he is the upaya, he is the upaya. What is he not to this Jivatma or individuals? He is all, he dons the roles of all sorts of relatives. So that is why it has been mentioned, Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Gurus Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. So if we realize it, then what else do we require in this life? So Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva. You are the mother, you are the father, you are the relative. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva is one reading. Another reading is Gurus Tvameva. So you are the preceptor or Acharya, or you are the friend. Tvameva Vidya, you are my knowledge. Dravinam Tvameva, you are my money. You are my property. So Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. You are my everything. So that is what is the realization that a true devotee gets. So that is why it has also been mentioned in other places. Pita cha rakshakasheshi swamyadharo ramapati. He is the father, he is the protector. He is the one to whom we are subservient. He is our master. So you have Navavidha Sambandham, 9 types of relations between India, the individual soul and the supreme soul. So all the 9 types of relations are upheld by the Supreme Lord. So he is the Sarvavidha Bandhu. And that realization has to occur by our chanting the word Narayana. So ultimately, what is the aim? To realize that he is our everything is the aim or goal of life, which is attained by constantly chanting the word Narayana, especially as part of the Ashtakshara Mahamantra. So that is what Tirumangayalvar says. So I have nothing else, no other relative other than the Supreme Lord. So especially this is very much relevant in today's context, because there are several people who have lost all their relatives. But for a realized soul, the Supreme Lord will fulfill the roles of all these relatives. But you have to underline for the Supreme Lord. So that is why a person who has lost his father, like me or mother, or whoever it is, ultimately it is the Supreme Lord who will fill those roles and give the necessary solace. So ultimately it is the Supreme Lord who is everything to the human being. For all beings, especially human beings, who have to realize what it is. இப்படி பந்துபூதனாய் கொண்டு இத்தலை கவன் செய்யும் அதேதென் அருளிச் செய்கிறார் நாம் பிறர்க்கானவன்னும் அவன் நமக்காயிருக்கும். அதாவது நாம் தன்னோடொட்டற்று பிறர்க்கு நல்லராயிருந்த காலத்திலும் அவன் நமக்கு நல்லனாயிருக்கும் என்கை. So the Once again, it is very beautifully explained. Okay, so what? Let us assume that he dons the roles, or he fulfills the roles of all types of relatives. One very important thing we have to note here is, suppose there is a young child or young boy or girl. So he has a father, he has a mother, he has a grandfather, he has a grandmother. Then he has a brother, a sister, aunts, uncles, etc. So all the relatives like this boy or girl very much. So each one of them showers their affection in a different manner. So father cannot shower affection on his son as the mother does. Or mother cannot shower an affection on the child as the father does. Because they have father-son relationship is different from mother-son relationship. Similarly, grandfather-grandson relationship is different from grandmother-grandson relationship. Similarly, aunt-nephew, uncle-nephew relationship is different from each other. But when a young boy who has good qualities, he is affable, is lovable, and who is favorably disposed towards all these persons, he becomes the recipient of the affection of all these people, which are quite different from each other in nature. So the question is, how does the Supreme Lord fulfill, or how does the Supreme Lord shower his love on the Jivatma or individual soul as different types of relatives do? That is the question. Or what does he do? The answer is very, very beautifully given. Nam pirarkanavannum avan namakkairikkum இராமடமூட்டுவாரைப் உள்ளே படிக்கிடந்து சத்தை பிடித்து நோக்கிக் கொண்டு போரும். In Tamil, there is a statement. பெத்த மனம் பித்து பிள்ளை மனம் கல். Many a times what happens, I have seen in several cases. It might be true in Western countries where generally I understand, I am not sure. So kindly, I am subject to correction. So generally I understand that in the Western countries, in America, etc., once the son comes of age, generally they don't stay with the parents. They are separated, or they seek their own fortunes, to put it in a very modern manner. So the son is sent away, not intentionally, but he may say, I will seek a job here, I will seek a job there, or in some other country, or in some other part of the world, or whatever it is. But in India, the family system was to be underlined, was very robust. So several generations of children, so it was true until my childhood. In the last 30-40 years, everything has changed for the worse. So several generations of persons used to stay in the same house. So the grandfather, then the son, then the grandson, and sometimes even great-grandson, they all used to stay in the same place, same house. And many a times the grandchildren would be tutored by their grandparents more than their parents would. And I have seen several instances when the son is more devoted to the grandparents rather than his own parents. Because the grandparents took it upon themselves to take care of their grandchildren more than they took care of their children, because their fathers and their parents existed at that time. So what happens? The love and affection is also showered upon the grandchildren, and also education in a very unique manner is given. The traditions of the family are explained to the grandchildren by the grandparents while telling stories, while telling them in the form of stories, which actually inspire them to become best citizens. That is how the scholarly tradition, the Vedic tradition, and so many traditions continued in India until recently, until our generation. Now the next generation has totally deteriorated, and that is why hundreds of social problems and other problems are also occurring. But there is one thing where many a times what happens, the son is not favorably disposed towards his mother or father. Such cases were also there. That is why I said the grandparents would play a very important role in the grandchildren becoming good citizens or good persons who have values in life, who respect values in life, who have inculcated them, etc. So here what happens, in some cases, the mother always craves for the affection of the son, whereas many a times the son is actually attracted by other worldly pleasures, and he totally disrespects or disregards his mother. So though the mother is hankering for the affection of her son and wants her son to show the same affection, reciprocate it, and also follow the values of the family, etc., he is not interested. So she hankers for his affection, whereas he is interested in something else. Then what happens? That is the stage of the Jivatma and Paramatma. Nam, that's what Pillalokacharya beautifully says, Nam pirarka navannum avan namakka irikkum. He is always hankering for our love. He sees, is this Jivatma ready to reciprocate the love I have for him? Will he at least look back and see that I am hankering for his love? So he says, Nam pirarka. This Jivatma is always interested in worldly pleasures. We are interested in money, we are interested in fame, we are interested in having the pleasures of life that arise from the senses, and so many other things. Whereas the Supreme Lord is hankering for our love. So that is why in Tamil it says, Pettamanam Pitt. The mind of the person who has given birth to the child, it is the mother, he is mad. Mad in the sense, he is trying to attract the affection or get the affection of a son who is interested in something totally different from this. And Pillai Manam Kalladi, son's mind resembles, or his heart resembles a stone. It is so hard to break. So there is no sense of any affection towards the mother in the heart of the son. Similarly, we are totally involved or interested in worldly affairs, whereas the Supreme Lord is always looking with regard to each Jivatma to see, will there be a small iota of affection or love for me? So that's why he says, Nam pirarka navannam avan namakka irikkum. We are always interested in other things, whereas the Supreme Lord is interested in us. So I will give a very worldly example. There's a beautiful statement by Shloka by Bhartrihari, a great Sanskrit poet. who has authored 100 shlokas each on three important aspects of life. One is Niti Shataka, that is the values of life. Second is Shringara Shataka, that is the Shringara, or the what we call the filial love, or the love that a husband has for his wife, that is known as Shringara in the beginning, but ultimately Shringara ultimately results in the love of a Jivatma for Paramatma, but that's not the context here. And then third one is Vairagya Shataka, which is when one has to renounce everything and become interested in the Supreme Lord. So he says in the Niti Shataka, he says, Yam chintayami satatam maisa virakta sapyanyamichati janam sajanonyasaktaha asmat krite cha parishusyati kachinanya dhiktam chatam cha madanam cha imam cha mam cha. He says, I am interested in a girl whom I love. But that girl is interested in some other person, some other boy. This person is a male. So he is in love with another girl. But that girl is not reciprocating his love. On the other hand, she is loving another person, another boy. But is that boy reciprocating her love? No. That boy is interested in another girl. So, Yam chintayami satatam mai sa virakti. The girl about whom I think about always is not interested in me. She is interested in another person. But is that person reciprocating her love? No. That person is interested in another girl. See how, what is the state of the affairs in this world. And he says, and on the other hand, another girl is hankering to have my love. Asmat krite cha parishishyati kachidam. Then he says, Dhik tam cha tam cha madanam cha imam cha. Fie upon this girl who is interested in me. Fie upon this girl in whom I am interested. And fie upon that person who is not interested in this girl. And fie upon Cupid, who is making all these things happen. So what is the moral of this? The moral of this is that we are not reciprocating the love that the Lord is showing us. And then Pillalokacharya gives a very beautiful example. Iramadamuttuvarai pole ulle padikidande சத்தை பிடித்து நோக்கி கொண்டு போரும். அதாவது நேர்கொடு நேர் தங்கள் பக்கல் வன்கு அபேட்சிதங்களை வாங்கி ஜீவியாதே துர்மானத்தாலே பட்டினியே எதிரியும் அவர்களையும் விடமாட்டாமையாலே அசலறியாதபடி ராத்திரி மഠத்திலே புஜிப்பாரை போலே தன் பக்கல் தலைசாயோம் இச்சேதனர் சுவாதந்திரியம் அடித்து தெரியாத இவர்கள் கண்காணாதபடி மறைந்திருந்து இவர்கள் சத்தையை தொடங்கி ரட்சித்துக் கொண்டு போரும் என்கை. So the context is like this. So there is a son who is estranged from the family. We have several instances that we see today, especially during the stage of adolescence. The children become rebels. In that stage of 4 to 5 years, probably between 15 and 20 or 14 and 19, they rebel at whatever their parents say, and it's a very difficult stage to get over. At that time, what happens? There is a son who has become estranged from the family and he is roaming around in the streets. To give a very modern example, I don't know whether this word is correct. Like what we had in the Americas, they were known as hippies or something like that. I don't know whether it is correct. Please correct me if I am wrong. That's what I have heard. So, but who will feed that son who has become estranged? So he also cannot overcome hunger. And in those days, you did not have the concept of hotels and fast food and all those things. So then by night, he has roamed around the city or village from morning till night. And in the night, he is so hungry. Then the mother, the example given, the mother, she is always hankering about the well-being of her son. So what will she do? If he goes in front of her, she is afraid that if he goes in front of her, the son may reject her advances in the sense that he will say, no, I don't want to see your face also, get lost. Even if I don't, he is so adamant that he says, even if I see your face, I'll not come face to face with you also. And even if to say your face, I am not ready. So then what she does, she goes near a desolated place, which is very dark. And there she has prepared some food because all the time the mother is interested in the well-being of her child, because they say in Kannada, they say Tayi Karu, which means if the son doesn't take food even for half a day, the mother will feel the pangs of hunger and she will feel so bad that she herself will not consume food on that day. So in those days, what she will do, there is a desolated place where there is no one, it's totally dark. So she goes inside there and then in a false voice, she calls the son and tells him, oh, sir, she will not call him son or something like that. She will address him in general terms and says, if you are hungry, I would like to give you some food. So the son is so hungry, having roamed around the village or city from morning to night. He says, yes, I am hungry. So the mother, she will conceal herself and through a particular window, she will actually prepare some food and she will place it in the hand like this from inside the window without revealing her identity. Then this person will consume the food and then the mother is so happy. She is so relieved that for that day the son has taken the food. So this is what is mentioned by Ira Madamu Tuarekole Ulle Padike Padikidande Satte Pidittu Nokki Kondu Porum. So similarly, what does the Lord do? He doesn't reveal his identity. Because we are so much averse to the presence of the Lord. It's as if we dislike him. So what does the Lord do? He is interested in our well-being, wellness, well-being, whatever you call it. He is interested in our attaining fulfillment. Therefore, he conceals himself, just as the mother conceals herself behind the walls, and through the window, she will give the food to the son so that he can sustain himself and overcome his hunger. The Supreme Lord also caters to our needs without revealing his identity because he is afraid. Of course, it does not happen, but he is so afraid, just like the mother is afraid that if he comes face to face with the Jivatma might reject him. That is why Sri Vaishnava philosophy says, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya says, more than the individual soul having love and affection for the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord's affection for the Jivatma individual soul is 1,000 times, a billion times, a billion times. So though the Jivatma is totally disinterested in the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord is extremely interested in the Jivatma. And this very beautiful example of the estranged son getting food from his mother, who is sitting in a concealed place without revealing his identity, gives him food and satiates his hunger. This is the essence of the word Narayana, which means the Supreme Lord is totally enamored about the Jiva. All we have to do is we have to realize that the Supreme Lord is after us, not we are after the Supreme Lord. And if we realize that, that is enough, nothing more has to be done, nothing more needs to be done. And that realization is bestowed on us by the world, by thinking deeply upon the connotation of the word Narayana. Therefore, காணாதபடி அந்தராத்மாவாய்க்கொண்டு உள்ளே மறைந்திருந்து இவர்கள் சத்தையை தொடங்கி ரட்சித்துக் கொண்டு போரும் என்கை. So the Supreme Lord is the indweller of all of us. Ishvaraha sarvabhutaram hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. That's what Lord Krishna finally says in the 18th chapter. So just as the mother conceals herself and sustains the life of the son, similarly the Supreme Lord is the indweller of all of us, irrespective of caste, creed, nationality, sex, and any other criteria. And he is sustaining us, and he is trying to attract us towards himself by showing small attractive things. And ultimately, to realize that is the essence of life. So I will stop here. The next sutra we will do. Ayana Ingiravittal. It's a different topic. What we have to do to reciprocate that. Aha in Narayana Padattale Kainkariya Pratisambandhyana Ishwaran Padiyai Arulichaidaraithu. So ultimately, the word Narayana is the word that explains all the unique factors of the Supreme Lord in relation with the Jiva. So I conclude there. We will have the next sutra in the next class. So all the credit goes to our forefathers and also my own father who trained me in all these things. Unfortunately, we are missing him sorely. Even I am totally unable to overcome the misery. But I thought I'll take today's class because I'll forget that misery at least temporarily. And also all our Purvacharyas, right from the Supreme Lord himself, even if the distance between the Supreme Lord and ourselves is reduced one bit, then our life is meaningful, it becomes meaningful. Nachet Draman Jetyesha Chatura Chaturakshari Kamavastham Prapadyante Jantavo Antamadrisha Punyam Bhoja Vikasaya Papadhvam Takshaya Cha Shriman Ayurabhut Bhumo Ramanuja Divakaraha Rinikrita Virinchari Nirankusha Vibhutayaha Ramam Japadam Bhoja Samashena Sharinaha. One extremely important aspect that all of us have to note here is this philosophy, this sampradaya, what we are telling, it's not limited to those who are sporting the Thiruman or any particular caste or creed or nationality or anything. It is a universally applicable philosophy, which is applicable to humans all over in the entire universe. So that is what is the essence, and therefore we have to realize that. That is if we do that, then it means that we have attained fulfillment.
Thank you so much, Swami.
So we will continue next week. Srimate Ramanujaya.